How you doing, YouTube? This is AUAG Prepper coming at you with another video. Um, we are basically at the first day of August. Now AV starts. The first day of AV starts on the second day, and it finishes on the 31st day of August, which would be AV 30. Now, I believe that based off the subliminal messages from the Economics magazine cover and from other sources, that um, basically the time period of all this going to start would be most likely between AV5 and AV6, but no later than AV11. If we get past AV11 with no issues whatsoever with our markets or anything else, then all that means is that the powers that be most likely got cold feet, and they back out of their particular events all the time. And there's a reason for that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. But before we do, I'm going to show you some coins that I bought. They are called Silver Eagles. Very, very nice coins. Let me see if I can bring this in a little bit so I can show you. Yeah, gorgeous coins. So these are made by our U.S. Treasury, and basically we get paid in currency, not in silver. We get, or silver or gold. We get paid in a fiat note made by the Federal Reserve, which is a private entity, and it also belongs to the Rothschild family, which is a major banking family cartel. Now, the Silver Eagle is made by the U.S. Treasury, and it's made to basically, how can I say it, to basically satisfy the needs or to produce a proper amount of Silver Eagles for the U.S. public. That's what they're supposed to do, and I think they're required by law to do so. So theoretically, our government makes two forms of money. We just get paid in one, which is the false form of money, which is fiat, which is called currency. It's not called money. The other form of money is silver, which if you look at the wordings, money came from the word called kasef. Kasef came from the word, which is a Jewish word, and the Jewish language is the Hebrew word. It's a very old language. It outdates many other languages. But if you look at the Jewish word kasef, kasef means silver. So without silver, the term money would not exist. If that makes sense. Okay, we're also silver and gold is in our Constitution. It's basically supposed to be used to pay off debt and any other form of payments. We're not supposed to be using any other form but gold and silver to pay off debt. And that's made, I believe it's in our Constitution. It's Article 1. Section 10, I believe. I'll have to research that. If I'm wrong about it, you can go ahead and quote me down in the comment section and let me know. Let me show you the symbol, the seal of the U.S. Treasury. So I don't know if I can focus in. My camera's not that great, but hopefully next few weeks I can get a better camera. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start off with, I know the title says Mona Lisa, Moon Phases. But we're going to start off with IPEC GOAT because there's a subliminal message in there that will add up to what I'm trying to talk about today. And in later videos, we're going to go in more detail with IPEC GOAT. We're just going to go to the gist of it. Now, before we talk about IPEC GOAT, you have to know what is IPEC GOAT. IPEC GOAT 2 is basically a symbol or a subliminal message for the next great attack or next great chaos to take place. Now, 9/11 was a big event. It's a very bad event. Now, 9/11 is also symbolized or shown in IPEC GOAT 2. IPEC GOAT 1 or 9/11, George Bush was in a classroom, basically with, I think they were preschoolers, when 9/11 took place. And one of his security guards came up to him and spoke into his ear and said, and told him that one of the planes hit the World Trade Centers. And I'll go ahead and show you that. And that's basically the symbol message of IPEC GOAT 1, the first catastrophe. And the reason why I say IPEC GOAT or PEG GOAT is because the children, when they're reading the books, and mind you, this is before the planes hit or during the planes hit, they read My Pet Goat. They also read a bunch of other things that matched up to what the catastrophe that was going on over in New York City. And I'll go ahead and show you. All right. So let me. This is before we start. This is iPad Go 2. It was made in 2012 in the summertime, and you can see here by this gentleman here, the producer. I researched him, and he's actually a Freemason. So yeah, he is into that Masonic, basically satanic organizations. All right, so there's just to give you an idea. In his how can I say it? His video is under Helifon. Helifon is the company that produced iPad Goat. Okay. All right, so this is what I was telling you about, and let's go ahead and play it so you can get an idea. So this happened on 9/11 back in 2001. Now listen to what she's saying. It says hit, hit. See, HIT, hit.
Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready.
Steal.
Yes, steal. Read these words.
Hit, steal. Plane, must. Hit, steal, plane, must. Now this happened the same exact day of 9/11. There's not a fabricated video. And by the way, jet fuel cannot burn steel. That's just ridiculous, especially thick steel. That was a part of the building of the 9/11 trade centers. I'm gonna have you watch one more thing, and then we'll go on to iPad Goat. This is just to give you an example of what iPad Go 2 is. It's the next catastrophe made by Helifon. It's almost done.
Get ready. The pet goat. Yes, the pet goat. Fingers under the first word of the story. Get ready to read the story the fast way.
You hear it?
Get ready. The girl had a pet goat.
The pet goat. And we run here just so you can hear them again.
Thank you. Fingers under the title of the story.
The title of the story. You'll say it one more time. And then we can move on.
Get ready.
The pet goat. Okay, so you get the gist of what the powers that be are trying to tell us and symbolize from this event and future events. So before we start, I would like to show you this as well. The powers that be worship a creature called the Phoenix. And during the 2012 Olympics, between July and August, and by the way, August, AV landed during this time period as well. They had ceremonies going on, which basically symbolized the phoenix as well inside the ceremony. You can see it here. See it? Rising from the fire, dying of its old body and rising anew. So if you add up the years from this time period, which was in the summer of between July to August, you get 2012, 2011, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019. You get the seventh year, or the completion of 7. And after August 12th, which was held by the ceremony, you land on the start of the 8th year, which is new beginnings. So this goes back to, just like I said before, symbolisms and items could be used to interpret two types of symbolism or two types of meanings. Now, basically, for the Corvette company, for example, the 2019 is the completion of the C7, and C8 is the start of the new, and it's actually a new body design and everything. The last front engine Corvette ended with the C7, which means completion, and C8 means new beginnings. So it's not a coincidence how these companies and these programs and movies and so forth, all symbolizing very similar outcomes. And 7 and 8 is a big symbolic numbers that the powers that be use. It's also holy numbers, but the powers that be use it for satanic reasons, unfortunately. And we'll go in more detail in future videos with the Phoenix. I just don't want to make this video too long. And we'll go into more detail with the 7 and 6, and shown in different subjects as well, like music, songs, release dates of songs, and so forth. All right, so also let me see if I can show you one more thing here. And you can see that this is just more pictures that happened at the 2012 Olympics. Let's see. And you can see here with the baby child. And you can see this looks like a giant egg, almost like the child is still in the womb. And this is very important too, because this is also symbolized in iPad Go. And this was released the same year of iPad Go. So iPad Go was released on sometime in June of 2012. And if you add up the years to 2019, you land on 7, and past June you land on what? 8, which means new beginnings. So it's the symbolism between 7 and 8 is basically all over the place, basically. You know, different subjects referencing each other. All right, so let's go ahead and go to iPad Go. And before we do, let me see if I can find the Economics Magazine cover. Okay, so basically what the Economics Magazine cover does is that they show us Mona Lisa. They also show us the crescent moon, and there's a reason for that too. Now this crescent moon here is shown, and Trump's economy is going up. No, but when you flip it, because the reason why you flip is because all the letterings are backwards. So when you flip it to get the proper letterings right here, so you can read it properly, you see that Trump market's going down, and it's at the phase of the crescent moon ending a month. So this is almost like the start of a month after 1 week of a month, and then 1 week before the month ends, the crescent moon is again, and you see that Trump's market is basically crashing. Now, which month are they talking about, and are they talking about a month? Those are the questions what you have to ask. And we get the information because they show us the Mona Lisa. And they show us the Mona Lisa for a reason. You know, Leonardo da Vinci, he was the creator of the Mona Lisa. And even with Leonardo da Vinci's other works, a lot of people say that there's a lot of Messianic symbolisms in it. You know, Da Vinci was a Catholic. A lot of people speculate that the Catholics, you know, they say that the Freemasons basically are not Catholics, and the Catholics are not Freemasons, and so forth. And then when I say Catholics, I'm not talking about your average individual who's a Catholic. I'm talking about your high placed individuals, like, you know, people who are in the Vatican Church helping out the Pope or so forth, even the Pope himself. Basically, long story short, I believe that the Freemasons are basically an agent for the Catholic Church, and there's reasons why I believe this, but I'm not going to go in detail because this video is going to be way too long if I do so. Let's go ahead and go back to iPad Go. All right, so let's start from the beginning, and I'm sure you guys remember this from other videos. I have it on slow mode. Let me speed up you see the scanner, you guys remember all that. iPad Go 2 from previous videos. Now, Bush is a puppet. And a lot of these high-power officials, people who are in high places, are also puppets. And they're puppets of who? They're puppets, unfortunately, of the principalities, of spiritual demons and Satan himself, unfortunately. A lot of these, Illuminati, Freemasons, and White Dragons, and so forth, they're all just satanic organizations. They say they're the enlightened ones, and you can see up here. Let me see if it shows it real quick. See if I can rewind it back right here. Hold on. It's up here on the corner, right here. It shows individual enlightened. Almost like evolution is being taken place, and when he gets to a certain point, he gets enlightened. You see? Right up there. Ooh, I almost had it. Let me slow it down a little bit. And there's a reason why they make the speed of this video really, really quick. It cuts parts really quick because they hope that you don't catch certain subliminal messages. So here. Now, God made the earth in 6 days, and on the seventh day he rested. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, which means completion. You see the symbolism of that, of 7? Alright. And then you have the owl in the corner, which is also another subliminal message as well. And a subliminal sign. See it? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and speed it up. This is just a reference of what happened during 9/11. It even shows the World Trade Centers going down as well. I'm going to speed it up real quick. Later in the video, it shows you that 2 towers are going down, which symbolizes the World Trade Centers that went down. So what this video does is it fast forwards in the future. This is back in 2001, and we know this already. So we're going to fast forward into the future, to future events. And this is the Antichrist here. He's still in the fog because he's not being shown by the world yet. So he's still hidden. And then you have Saddam Hussein rallying up the troops, basically, which are Muslims, because there will be a Psalm 83 war taking place during the time of this catastrophe. You have the New York City falling, which represents that America is going to fall during this time. And remember the child that was in the egg back here. Let me see if I can show you. Here, see that? He's inside the egg, and the baby. And if you go back to the iPad Goat, see? So basically what the power bees are saying is that the serpent, also known as the devil, 666, is aiming for our children, with the mark of the beast. There's going to be a, almost like a monetary system, like a mark of the beast system, which is going to be electronical. It's going to be like a RFID chip device that they're going to try to implant into our children, but it has to be a form of agreement from the parent. The parent must say that say yes or nay. They can't just force your child to get planted. Also, another thing is this. I don't know if you see here, the stork is a symbolism of infancy or birth. You see it? Let me see. My camera's really, really bad. Let's see if I could. There, you can see it a little bit, but that's a scanner right there. See that? So scanner starts initiation with a 6, maintains it in the middle with a 6, and completes it with a 6. So 666. You could talk to any type of engineer, technical engineer or electronical engineer, and they'll tell you that these how scanners work. So you can even look it up on YouTube as well, and they have documentaries of showing talking about scanners and how they work. Okay, let me see. Let's go ahead and go back real quick. All right, so we're going to go ahead and fast forward to the crescent moon. And this video is way too long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and post this one, and then do another video. There's just so much here to talk about. It's just absolutely insane, but let me show you. So this is the crescent moon that is going to be shown. You look in the puddle here, okay? Now you have to remember that water is a reflection of the opposite, just like a mirror. So whatever it shows here is the opposite. That's what you look up into the sky. There you go. You see the crescent moon? So when you look at it this way, it looks very, very similar to this here. I'll show you. It looks very, very similar to this, which is not. So when you look in the mirror, everything is opposite. So if it's opposite, it's here, this crescent moon, which is the beginning of the month. The beginning of the month shows Trump's economy is going up. And if we look at iPad Goat to see the reference, he has pills and drugs. You could probably tell he had good, he probably had a party last night or whatever the case may be. He's a representation of the average Joe. Now, I'm not saying the average Joe, everyone does pills and drugs, but he's supposed to be the representation of the average Joe. They have him as an egghead, eggheads being like the dumb person. Powers that be look at the common man as an idiot, basically. And the TV is a representation of basically the media, what's going on now, and just distractions, basically. of basically the true problems that need to be addressed. All right, so we know that Trump's markets are doing good during this crescent moon. We know that from before this crescent moon and on this crescent moon. We can go back to IPEC Goat. So if you look at here, you look into the sky, it's exactly the same crescent moon, okay? And we can even come here. See if I can find it real quick. So you can even come here and you see the crescent moon right here. See here, 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 and here, which is the last one, the seventh one. Now the seventh one of August is the 6th AV. Now, for something to happen, it has to happen after that crescent moon, because that's what IPEC Goat is showing us here, and also the Economics Magazine company, which is here. Okay. So right now we are in good times. For bad times to happen, it needs to happen past that crescent moon. And let me show you here what happens after this crescent moon passes. So crescent moon passes, and look what happened. I'm just gonna speed it up a little bit. Look into his eyes. Market crash and war breaking out. You see that? War coverage. So chaos starts, and it starts right after that crescent moon. Now another interesting note is that when chaos starts, he opens up his eyes. Now a form of open your eyes is being awake to something, okay? Before he was sleeping, but now his eyes are open, so he's aware of what's going on. And the common man, when this event does take place, the common man will be awoken out of his slumber. Now, it's interesting how this moss is on top of this rock, this Dome of the Rock, because there's only one moss that is on top of a rock, and that's the Dome of the Rock in Israel. Now, war breaks out, and missiles are dropped upon this moss. And if you see into the sky, it's funny how they have a position. If you look into the sky, it looks like the moon is in the sky, right? So if you just block this off here, it looks like the moon is in the sky. You see that? So that would show us that that's 1 week before the month ends in August. Because if you go back to the moon phase, right here, it shows the same crescent moon 1 week before the month of August ends. You see that? Another interesting note is that if you go back to here, Trump's markets are crashing, chaos are breaking loose. And what do you have? The crescent moon on the opposite side from this, which means that close to the ending of a month. And on IPEC Goat, what did it show? It showed the crescent moon where everything was fine and dandy, and then once the crescent moon went away, his eyes opened up, chaos started breaking loose, markets plunged, war coverage, and then you see the crescent moon this way, which means during the time of that month, whatever that month is, which I believe is August, catastrophe is going to take place. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we talked about that. Now on to the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa points to a particular date and time of this event. And that's the reason why we're talking about Mona Lisa, because it's featured on the Economics Magazine cover right here. Now let's go ahead and diagnose it a little bit. Now, Mona Lisa, believe it or not, has a lion that sits above the head or next to the head of the Mona Lisa. It also has a number system that is scattered all throughout the Mona Lisa if you flip it upside down and if you turn around and so forth. And we're going to go ahead and diagnose the Mona Lisa, see what type of date that the Mona Lisa is telling us. Now, the Mona Lisa gives us a time period, like a month, but not a year. That's the only problem with the symbol mesh of the Mona Lisa. But I believe 2019 is the year. If 2019 is the year, then the month is indicated through the Mona Lisa. And we see here. So we have, in the Mona Lisa, we have a 2 right here. If you flip the Mona Lisa upside down, you get a 2. You get a 7. Also with the 7, there's a little nub, like a little dash here on the 7, which represents a Z. And that's important for a reason. And then you get another 2, which is the pathway right next to her shoulder. Okay. You also get a 6, and you can see the 6 right here. You see it? And then let me show you here. So you see the 6 right there? and then you get a 5. So when you flip her back over where she's supposed to be, this 2 turns into a 5. You see? And remember, items, or when they're using subliminal messages for items or numbers or whatever the case may be, that item or number or whatever it is could have several meanings, if that makes sense. So what are they trying to tell us here? Now, on the Jewish calendar, right now we have 722. So let's go ahead and diagnose that first. 722. Now, 722, 7 on the Jewish week, if you add up, go past the, or I should say the Jewish year, sorry. 7 on the Jewish year, the civil year, going into the ecclesiastical year, or the ecclesiastical year going to the civil year. Each year that they have is 6 months. So it's 1 year that has 2 years on the Jewish calendar. If you go past the 6th month, you land on the civil year or the ecclesiastical year, depending on which way you're going. The 7th month is also known as the first month, if that makes sense. So what they're depicting is that this 7 is 1. So 1 to 2. Now what are they talking about? AV is A means 1 and V means 22. AV is the month of on the Jewish calendar that lands in the month of August of this year. Now if you flip her upside down to see if, just to confirm the 722, we get 5. Now AV is the 5th month of the ecclesiastical year, the 5th month, which it lands on August. So that gives us another confirmation that this could possibly be what the Mona Lisa is telling us. Also 6, which is AV6, if it's talking about the day, I'll show you this here. See, AV6 lands on the 7th day of August, which is the last crescent moon before the half moon. So most likely the catastrophe will happen, and during the Economics magazine cover, I'll show it back, you see the crescent moon, and even on iPad Code the crescent moon matches up with this crescent moon, matches up with the 6th crescent moon, the 5th to the 6th, which shows what? It shows that Trump's economy is going up, good times are still here. But the next previous day is the last crescent moon, and it's the 6th AV, which the number 6 is on the Mona Lisa's shoulder. Another interesting note is this right here, just to confirm that AV does land on, 6 AV does land on August 7th, which is right here. So AV6 lands on August 7th. See, it's not a coincidence. You see that? Alright, so now that we have all that down, I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to go ahead and post it, and I'm going to post the next part describing that the Mona Lisa was actually inspired by Leo the Lion and Virgo. So Mona Lisa is a representation of Virgo, and the lion, which is right here, you see the, see if I can focus it, you see the mouth right here, the tongue right there, the nose, and you can go back here. You see that? A lion. He's like roaring there. You see that? See? So this is a representation of Leo the lion in space that sits above the head of Virgo, which is the woman. So it's not a coincidence how this matches up like this. And I'll show you in the next video as well. Okay, we'll post soon.